let me start this off by asking you a question. Who's in here has made a mistake? Feel free to raise your hand if you wanted to. I'll raise it with you. Most likely, everyone's, right? Now let's think it back together. When's the last time you made a mistake? And how did you handle it? Maybe that mistake was something small like burning toast in the morning, or perhaps it might be something bigger, something that felt like a real setback. And it's alright, we've all been there, we've all created mistakes. But why is someone more successful than others? What if I told you that these so-called mistakes are something far more valuable than you think? Growing up for 17 years, I've experienced tons and tons of mistakes. But one of the mistakes I'll never forget about is when I failed a math test. Yes, like failing a single test for many of you might feel like it's just a tiny bit in life. Like, why is it a big deal? But for me, that mistake and the word failed is just so heavy that I don't even know how to put it aside. But as time passed, I actually learned something. After I actually was like, what do I do now? Maybe I was like, oh. But then I realized that the mistake was not the end of the world. It's actually an invitation for me to explore other fields. Maybe I've actually had talents in areas that I've even considered before. Sometimes mistakes just guide us to where we need to go, not just an area that we think we're strong in. Take Steve Jobs, for example. He was once fired from his own company. Like, can you even imagine that? But instead of letting that mistake define him, he used it as a fuel. And he actually turned it into a masterpiece. He came back stronger, more innovative, and eventually led Apple to become one of the most successful companies in the world that we've all known now. So sometimes what seems like a mistake was actually the start of something much better. But you don't need to be like Steve Jobs or have a massive impact failures to make you learn something valuable. Sometimes the smallest slip-up teaches us the biggest lessons. Take it easy. How many of you in here have ever messed up a recipe? Maybe you might accidentally added too much salt, but somehow ended up getting the best meal ever. Or have you ever turned on the wrong road and somehow found a hidden gem cafe or a park that you would never found it otherwise? Yeah, and it's just life. Life often hands us detour disguised as mistakes, but it actually can lead us to beautiful or unexpected places. And it's not just Apple. Google, another tech giant company that everyone's also known of, they actually encourage their employees to learn from mistakes. Have you ever heard of the 20% time policies from Google's? Guess what? Gmail, that everyone uses it in their daily life this day, actually came from this trial and error approach. In fact, research also shows that in areas or in space where people feel comfortable to make mistakes, innovation and creativity thrive. So sometimes, actually, mistakes aren't just okay, but they're actually essential for growth. And not so long ago, I attended a camp, and I actually had the opportunity to learn the game of Go. At first, I was wondering why the CEO really wanted us to learn the game of Go. Because it's just so complex and no one actually uses it anymore. But then I realized something, that in Go, mistakes are inevitable, and the only way to learn from it is actually by making them. And I need to admit something, that I've actually never won against anyone. But it's not a complete failure, because just time that I lost, I learned bit by bit, improving my skill and improving my understanding of the game. And inside, there's actually also a term for this. Error management theory. Sounds a bit kind of fancy, isn't it? But it actually suggests that humans are wired to learn from mistakes. When we made a mistake, our brain automatically adapts to find better solution. And it's like exercising. The more we strain, the more we do it, the better it becomes. Mistakes are like our greatest teacher, but somehow we just spend so much time of our life trying to avoid it. So, my challenge to you all is this. The next time life hands you mistakes, embrace it and learn from it, and know that you're actually one step closer to your next success. Even if it's big or small, you need to know something that mistakes are not failure, but they're actually a lesson disguised as mistakes, disguised as opportunity for you to guide you to your masterpiece. Thank you.